That is not good.
Hey YouTube, it's Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. And no, an air compressor is not supposed to make a loud buzzing noise like that if there's no components moving. That's generally a bad sign. I'm going to take this opportunity to troubleshoot an issue and also answer a question that somebody had, and actually a few people have asked me this. You know, I've been asked, in my mind, what do I think it takes to run a successful business? Well, if your business is all that you're doing and it's how you're supporting yourself, one of those things is being able to replace or repair a piece of equipment in a timely manner. My air compressor is literally the backbone of the shop. I mean, all the air tools run on it. I use the air tools for prepping steel for welding. The air compressor runs the sandblasting. It runs the plasma cam with the plasma cutter. So without it, I am severely limited in what I can do, and I have work in the shop now that needs to get done. So that loud buzzing noise, that does not mean the air compressor is dead, thank God. I happen to know what's wrong with it. My shop is running on standard residential electricity, which means I have access to 220 volts, but it's all single phase. And single phase 220 motors typically need a capacitor to help them get started. And there are two different types of capacitors. You've got start capacitors and run capacitors. This air compressor requires the start capacitor. And I happen to have it with me. This is the one that I took out of it. And this is an old guy. I don't know how well you're going to be able to read any of this, but it's kind of an oddball. It requires 165 volts AC. It's not 110, it's not 220, it's 165. And this capacitor actually fried out in the middle of the summer. And I don't know if you can hear that, but it's so dry inside, there's actually things rattling around in there. And I noticed that it was starting to get slower and slower as far as being able to turn the motor over. So I went to my local motor shop, and they had a 165 volt capacitor. The thing is, capacitor has another range of, like another scale that you have to kind of look at when you're buying one. The voltage isn't the only thing to look at. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I think you might. This is rated for 378 to 440 MFD, and MFD stands for microfarads. And very basic definition of what a capacitor is a warehouse for extra electrons. That's where extra electricity gets stored. And the microfarad range tells you what, how many of those electrons are going to be discharged into the motor to help it get turning. And like I said, very basic definition. Now, the guy at the motor shop had a 165 volt capacitor, but it didn't have the same capacity. It was, I believe, 250 to 370, somewhere along those lines. And that's the capacitor that's currently in the motor. So because it's the next step down, it does have a little bit of a hard time kicking the motor over and getting it running. In the cold, when the oil in the heads is the consistency of molasses, it's a lot more labor for that motor to spin the flywheel on the compressor. So, not having the correct capacitor in there is what's killing me. Luckily, I was able to go down yesterday and order the correct one. It should be here in a couple of days. But in the meantime, I've got work I need to finish, and I need an air source. So I'm going to be dragging a Craftsman air compressor out of the basement and hooking it into the air system here. So the goal is have the Craftsman, I think it's only got a 30 gallon, maybe 40 gallon tank on it at the most. I'm going to plug that air compressor into this system, pressurize everything, including the 80 gallon tank on this guy, build up enough air storage to where I can use the plasma cam and make some efficient cuts. Alright YouTube, so got this compressor out of the basement. It wasn't easy. Dana was around to make sure I didn't kill myself coming up the stairs with this thing. It is only a 25 gallon tank. I thought it was between 30 and 40, but I didn't remember right. So it is a 25 gallon tank. It's capable of 175 psi, and it's got a 3.5 horsepower motor on it. The heads are a lot smaller than what I'm running on my other compressor. I mean, that's an air compressor head. That to me is something made by Mattel. So
it's going to take a lot for this to keep up with the plasma cam. So that's why I'm going to pressurize the entire system and let this catch up in between cuts. So to connect this, I've got my manifold system over here. This is the main regulator. It's got an old gauge on it that's not very reliable. That's why there's a new one right here on the manifold. The manifold goes to a couple of different spaces in the shop. But I'm going to be bypassing all this to get the air inside the tank. This line right here will give me a direct shot into the 80-gallon tank of the compressor that I normally use. So let's get this connected, fire it up, and see how long it takes to get the whole system up to pressure. I managed to get everything cut that I needed to get cut except for one small item. But Dana was here. She did the engraving that needed to be done in this project. And what this is going to be a wedding gift. Needs to be ready for January. This is going to be a menorah. Some good friends of ours are going to a wedding, and they want this to be their wedding gift to the bride and groom. And I can't really show you the names or the dates or anything like that for obvious reasons, but I will say that the gentleman, the groom rather, is a chef. I'm not sure what the bride does as far as profession, but the menorah is going to be somewhat customized. Basically, it's going to get welded together like so. The knife with the inscription is going to go in one direction. It's going to get set a little further back. And then there's going to be a rose that comes up over the top of the knife. So the knife is because he's a chef, the rose is for the bride. And like I said, I can't show you the finished version of what this is going to be, but I can show you one that I've done in the past. This is the menorah that I made for Verid, and it's pretty much the same exact design. I have refined the design a little bit for the plasma cam so it cuts a lot easier. Again, 1/2-inch thick steel plate. This is actually not a full 3/8. It's a little bit thinner. We used 3/8 on this one and polished it. I will show you the inscription though. I think I can get away with showing you the inscription. May you be a light to each other, even in the darkest of times. And that was all hand engraved by Dana. So, still got a lot of work to do on this project, but this is the kind of stuff that that we've been making lately. And I really, really like this kind of stuff. And it's fascinating because I never thought I would be in a line of work where somebody would commission me to make an heirloom for a newlywed couple that could be passed down in their family for generations. And this, because it is made of steel and it's made with a lot of care and a lot of consideration, I know that this is going to be around for many, many years to come. And I think it's awesome to be a part of that tradition, to have the privilege of creating something like this for people that they will treasure throughout their entire lives. Hey YouTube. So before I wrap up the video, I want to take the time to thank everybody out there who have stuck with me over 2016. It's not quite done yet, even though a lot of people would like to see this year put to bed with a shovel. It's just been horrendous for a lot of people, especially in the United States. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, but most people on both sides will admit that this election was nothing but a giant shitstorm, and for some reason it's still raining. But we also lost a lot of talented individuals this year. the number of singers and actors and producers and things that we've lost. 2016, it seemed like it knocked you down and it wouldn't let you get back up. Every time you turned around, there was something else horrible coming over the news. But 2016 is almost over. Some people look at that as a good thing. Some people are terrified of what's going to come in 2017. What it all boils down to is time. You know, people say that time heals all wounds, and there's so many little sayings about time, and I think about time a lot. Even though I'm only 41, I know I still got some pretty damn good years ahead of me. Once something's gone, it's pretty much gone, and we all have a finite amount of time in this world. And I really do appreciate the almost 9,000 people that I have following me, because they're investing time in watching what I have to offer and what I'm trying to teach. And at the end of the day, they're not getting that time back. They've invested that time in me. And I really do appreciate it. Hell, I even appreciate some of the trolls that I have. They keep me motivated in ways that sometimes my subscribers can't. But so far this month, I've celebrated Yule, going to be celebrating Hanukkah, going to be celebrating Christmas. I like living in a diverse household. But whatever tradition you follow, whatever holiday festivities that you're going to have this year, I really wish you guys a warm, happy, and safe holiday season. And I am going to try to get another video out before the end of the year so we can wrap up this 2016 disaster together. But for now, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever tradition you happen to follow. Until the next time, this has been Jeff at Darkmoon Metals, and I will see you again soon.